Yes, it came from outer space to fill the world with terror, to bring you unforgettable suspense.
It's indestructible. It's indescribable. Nothing can stop it.
Shocktails with Johnny Thunder.
The Varys to my Tyrion, the Bronn to my Jaime, the Brienne to my Podrick. Obviously, none of these references mean anything to him because he doesn't even watch Game of Thrones. It's Sir Jonathan Thunder.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only throne that I know is the one that I take after, take a giant dump after the show, or actually during the show is probably best. But yeah, so you dig this whole Game of Thrones with the
porcelain throne.
Yeah, exactly. Your little dragons and your, shame,
dude. They have White Walkers.
I hear there's dragons and
they have White Walkers. Damn it.
Yeah. My one friend turns me on to that, but
No, you get occasional dong hanging out too. That's just not.
Wow.
Not a good thing. Lots of boobage, though. Lots of boobage.
I heard boobs and dragons and...
Little snatch shot every once in a while, but...
Wow.
I know.
I had the Khaleesi, whatever that means. She used to show her boobs a lot, and then this season she thinks she's too good for boobs, and all of a sudden now she's showing her boobs again.
I don't want to get any spoilers, but yes, she was full...
Oh, yeah, please don't ruin the show that I'll never see.
Full frontal nudity.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Is that exciting?
She's pretty hot.
Did she have a front double?
No, on this specific shot, that was her.
Was it a Merkin? Any Merkins involved? Merkins provided by Chris Baker Productions.
I cannot confirm nor deny
a Merkin
that she was wearing a Merkin. Yes.
Yeah. I'm just not into Dungeons and Dragons shit, so I never.
Yeah, but it's not really that. Look, I'm not. I hate,
there's dwarves and magic.
I hate when people try to convince you to watch something. This is
I've been doing for 6 years.
I know. This is so you. You gotta watch. You gotta see this. Just it's my favorite. They just try to hammer in for you to watch it. And my daughter mentioned it to me, and I'm like, so
what is our show about? Is this? We're now a Game of Thrones podcast?
No.
Game of Thrones cast? Khaleesi cast? I drink and know things cast?
Dude, I like to do themes and shit every once in a while,
I've never heard a show, so I don't know.
Some people do memes, I do themes. It's just kind of what I do.
If you do you and I'll do me.
Hey, I got a question for you.
I'm afraid to ask, but yeah, what's your question?
Hey, what Shocktails brought to us by this episode?
Well, what did I just dig out? Oh, it's brought to you by Bell's Two-Hearted Ale, once again, in cans. And what about you, Sparkles?
Shocktails is brought to you by Imp's Delight. Short on temper and long on drunken debauchery. From the finest Dornish vineyards, pour yourself a tall glass of Imp's Delight. And you, too, might also terminate your father on the shitter. Johnny?
Dude, are we going to keep up with these nonsensical references? I just don't care. Dude, I hate that show. I just don't care.
That's why I am doing this. I'm just to irritate the shit out of you.
6 years too late, okay? 6 years too fucking late, dude.
Anyway.
Hey, the good news is I haven't heard from Heather Langenkamp's attorneys. We haven't got a cease and desist order.
Excellent.
Yes. I mean, everything's coming up. Johnny Thunder.
Well, that's a good thing that you interviewed her then. Because that probably prevented us from any legal.
Yeah. It seemed like it was fine. So what do we want to talk about? Are we doing anything, or are we just going to keep... Can we have some more Game of Thrones references? Because I have no idea what's going on so far.
There's no cure for being a cunt.
Usually, I'm the one who does absolutely zero, and you at least put an outline together.
Yeah,
and then...
So
we've already... I think you practice in the mirror for 2 hours prior to coming on the show, don't you?
I don't know. We already have 30 minutes in the can. Can we just say stay scary and move on with our day?
Yeah, you got to slide at least one review in there, and that way...
Ooh, slide it in.
We can,
now.
Hey.
I'm good at that. All right. Actually, I did see a couple movies, shockingly, between this show and the show we did like a year and a half ago.
Whatever.
There's a little movie out called The Conjuring 2.
That desperately needs our help.
After everything we've seen, there isn't much that rattles either of us anymore. But this one still haunts me. Does it feel like the voice is coming from inside you?
More like it's coming from behind me. Like I'm being used.
Rated R for terror and horror violence. Directed again by James Wan. Written by Carrie and Chad Hayes. Reprising their roles, Vera Farmiga, or Vera Parmigiana, and Patrick Wilson, a.k.a. Night Owl, star again as Lorraine and Ed Warren, who, in one of their most terrifying paranormal investigations, travel to North London to help a single mother raising 4 children alone in a house plagued by the Enfield poltergeist. So everybody that dug the first one, the Warrens are back with a subsequent investigation. Budgeted at $40 million, opening weekend basically made its budget back, and to date has made roughly about $73 million. It's had great reviews. I've seen everybody really, really digs it. A lot of people have actually dug it more than the original.
But does Johnny Thunder dig it?
Didn't dig it. I knew that you could.
Well, let's see. I had a lot of fun. I think what, again, is nice about this film, just like the first film, are the performances. The 2 leads, again, are very charismatic. They have great chemistry. It's really well directed. I think James Wan, is sort of what modern horror wants to see. That being said, are there a little too many jump scares for me? Of course there are. Again, I'm not a big paranormal haunted house kind of cat to begin with.
Really? I thought you've told us numerous times that you were into that kind of stuff.
Into ghosts and haunted houses? Yes.
Yeah, ghost hunters.
Yes. That's my favorite. Absolutely, that's my favorite.
You go out with your little EVP reader thing, and
I had an EVP once when I was single, but the doc gave me a lot of penicillin, and that shit cleared right up. So, I dug it. I thought it was great. What I really dug about this one, and again, I think a lot of people are digging. There are going to be a lot of influences on haunts, on Halloween costumes, in terms of some of the characters in the film. You had the Twisted Man, I think he was, and then the big bad is sort of this demon nun who is, you've probably seen her either in the trailers or online, completely freaky. Just the demon that is sort of the main awful character in the film takes on the form of a demonic nun to torment Lorraine Warren because of her Catholic faith. And what's funny about that was the makeup is awesome. It's just a really creepy character. And actually, after I saw the movie a couple weeks ago, I actually got a friend request on Facebook from Bonnie Aarons, who plays the demon nun. And I was like, oh, wow, that's her that plays the demon nun. So if you're not friends with her, she's very friendly. Hit her up on Facebook. She's done a lot of other horror, and really, really cool lady. So yeah, overall, I think if you dug the first one, you'll certainly enjoy A Further Adventure of the Warrens. It starts off with a little bit of an intro of them investigating Amityville, and then that sort of ties into the Enfield haunting as well. People are saying they dug it more than the first one. For me, there was a certain charm about the first film, the period setting, the performances, not only Wilson and Farmiga, but you had the parents in the first one, and of course now I'm completely zoning on, was Lily, what's her name, and the other cat from Office Space. So you had a lot more going on there to me that I actually enjoyed the first one more in terms of film and structure and the performances. But that being said, if you're a fan of the first film, you'll really, really dig this one. A little too many startle scares for me, but overall, I think that the performances carry because they're so charming, they're so likable, and once again, I think it's a hit. So check it out. If you dig the first one, I don't think there's anything revolutionary or groundbreaking, but it's a pretty solid haunted house flick.
Is this based in the 70s?
Yeah. I think it's 6 years later than the first film, but it's still based in the 70s.
Yeah, he had the mutton chops going, and I was like, it's gotta be a 70s flick.
Yeah.
Unless he's one of those little hipsters.
Right. So
coming back.
Right.
Anyway.
Just like you. Not as hip as you with your Game of Thrones references.
He's always been a cunt.
Moving on. Another flick that I caught not too long ago was a Turkish film called Baskin. Now, apparently that's the way you pronounce it. At first I thought it was called Baskin, and I was really excited because I thought it might be about ice cream or something. But it's not. Sadly, it might be Baskin. So it's Baskin. It's a Turkish film.
If you're curious to see, pull the tricks out of my sleeve. All you find is yours to keep.
Directed and written by Ken Evernall. Okay. I'm so lit. Anyway.
Evernall?
So this movie's about a 5-man unit of cops on a night patrol who get more than they bargained for when they arrive at a creepy town in the middle of nowhere after a call comes over the radio for backup. So they enter this derelict building, and all of a sudden these seasoned tough guys and their rookie junior cop, who is still haunted by a traumatic childhood event, face hell itself. Now, this was a really weird flick that I caught on video on demand, I think 2 months ago or so. I was really intrigued because a lot of the press before it was released talked about how, again, it's a Turkish film, which, again, you don't see much of, so it's always interesting to me to see sort of foreign take on horror. Yeah. And they're talking about how it's the most horrific, again, the press and the hyperbole, the most horrific film you've ever seen, the most gory film you've ever seen, gross, over the top. It's like, all right, well, I'll check this out. So I watched it one Friday night. And overall, I dug it. It's certainly interesting, again, to see a foreign take on familiar American horror tropes, like the people going out into the countryside, people investigating, sort of this old spooky house. You don't know what's going on. I would liken it most, at least in my opinion, sort of a cross between, I don't know, maybe like The Hills Have Eyes. So these cops are going out, and like the first half involves this kid who's the new cop, and he has these like weird memories as a kid, and it's sort of these ghosts or something weird happened in his house. And they all go out and they have to investigate this old house, and there's like haunted part of town, and then everything, like the needle goes right off the record, and it's all kind of like weird and crazy. So they go into this building, and basically there's this whole like weird society cult living in this building, and there's these legless freaks and monsters and these just fucked up people in leather outfits, and they live in a basement, and they're blindfolded, and they have like garbage bags over their heads. And so again, it's one of those things where coherence, storytelling, narrative doesn't really make a lot of sense at the end of the day, at the end of the film. But visually, there's a lot of really fucked up shit. So again, if you want to draw some inspiration for a haunt, for a costume, I think that's certainly all there. As a film, I think it's great. I mean, this kid, he's apparently a younger dude, and this is his first effort, so kudos to him. I think, it's only a possibility for him to improve as he progresses in his career. But otherwise, it's uneven in terms of storytelling, in terms of direction. There are a lot of scenes there that just seem that they're for shock value, but certainly are visually interesting and really do take you back and go, whoa, that's kind of, effed up. So I would say check it out. Definitely for that kind of perspective, if you're looking for some kind of gory over the top kind of a thing. If that's not your thing, because the first half is a little slow, and then the last, say maybe half hour, is really gory over the top. If it's not your bag, then skip it. But otherwise, you might find some inspiration for your little yard deal this year. All right. Are you still there? So the last movie that I want to talk about this time is called The Pack.
What the hell was that?
It wasn't exactly someone's pet.
Domestic breeds, even wolves. They're usually more afraid of us than we are of them. How many of them are out there? Predators usually hunt in packs.
Now, this is an Australian film in which a farmer and his family must fight to survive after a ferocious... Oh, God.
Come on, man. You can do it. Come on. You can do it. You can do it.
Listen, after a ferocious pack of wild dogs infiltrates their isolated farmhouse, through a series of frightening and bloody encounters, they are forced into survival mode to make it through the night Now I'm laughing because, listen. So
because it's a pack of collies?
But listen. No, it's chihuahuas. No. So listen. So I see this movie. I don't know anything about it. I don't research it. Again, it's like a Friday night and I'm like half drunk and I'm eating a cheesesteak. And I'm like, all right, The Pack. Yeah, it's an Australian movie. It looks, this crazy sort of, exploitation, over the top kind of, bullshit.
It's a dog eat dog world.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if you're gonna, you're gonna do a movie about these killer dogs, you think it's gonna be a fun kind of over the top, gory kind of bullshit thing, right? And it just was boring and went on and on. And again, there were some really nice performances, but I was, again, one of those situations where I was sort of thinking that the actors thought they were in a different film because they're very earnest and they're very realistic in their performances. And I'm waiting for, sort of 15 Cujos attacking the house at once and just sort of this over-the-top, nonsensical, fun kind of exploitative 70s animals, rule the earth kind of a flick. And it never really got there, at least in my opinion. It wasn't as fun. It wasn't fun nor funny. It could have been a lot better in terms of just if you're going to do sort of this over-the-top crazy kind of a thing, do it.
It could have been Piranha with dogs.
Well, yeah. Not even that asinine, but just, if you're going to do something like this, I would say do it. I think it tried to be a little more intellectual and serious than it was, and was trying to be a little bit of a better film than it wanted, was really. So that one I didn't dig at all. I was a little disappointed because I thought it was going to be a lot more fun. So, again, I'm just a simple caveman who drinks beer and eats cheesesteaks and watches monster movies, but what the hell do I know?
You know nothing, John Thunder.
Clearly, we've gotten to the point where we've established that we know nothing about anything.
Yeah.
But so what did we learn? Conjuring 2, if you like the first one, go check it out. Baskin has nothing to do with ice cream, sadly. And The Pack, I thought sucked. But, again, that's just me. All right, well, please. Chris, as always, GFY.
GFY.
And everybody, thank you for listening. As always, this is Johnny Thunder saying, stay scared.
I'm going now. Heaven help you.
Please like and follow the podcast. Stalk us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Links in the description. And help us by sharing Hauntcast with all your haunted Halloween brethren. Until next time, stay scary.